It has come to my attention that we've just hit over 1,000 subscribers. I seriously could not thank you all enough. I'm honestly blown away by all the support and the comments and the incredible community that we're building together. You all make this journey so much fun, and I could not wait to keep growing with you. That being said, as a special thank you, today I'm going to do something a little fun. Celebrating 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be painting up 1,000 Suns Rubric Marine. And in no way has this need to paint up one of them dusty boys come from playing Space Marine 2. Especially in a metallic blue scheme inspired directly from said Space Marine 2. And I'm going to be trying my hand at some object source lighting to make this Rubric Marine something really special. Maybe not the good kind of special, because I've never really tried OSL before, apart from painting like plasma guns. But hey, what's this hobby all about if not taking us away from our comfort zones and trying new things? We might even unlock a new skill. What's the worst thing that can happen? Let's begin by assembling the model. I've had this kit lying around for quite some time, probably since early 8th edition. It's not exactly an ancient kit, but it's nice to work with something that feels a little bit more old school, where you can just pick up a helmet, torso, some arms and legs, and just get to building without worrying about each specific part being molded for one purpose. After clipping out the pieces, be sure to clean up any flash and mold lines by scraping away the nubs and smoothing everything out. Also, don't forget to drill out the gun barrels for some added detail. For the base, I'm using corkboard to create a rocky platform for the model to stand on, along with some 3D printed fire from Deadly Print Studios. Check them out if you're looking for some cool extras for your miniatures. Once the base layout is glued down and dried, I cover the cork with some Vallejo earth texture, but only on the sides, leaving the flat top exposed. I plan to add some crackling texture later, so I'll keep that area nice and clean. After priming the base black, I use some white ink to begin the base's OSL, coming from the fire and also around the ground. I want the base to feel completely corrupted by chaos. So I then start with some fluorescent pink around the fire and then some fluorescent blue on the opposite side, then coming in and blending the two with some fluorescent purple. Once the paint dries, I apply gloss varnish to the areas where I plan to use the crackle paint. This helps the paint stick much better to the base. I'll be using GW's Modern Earth crackle paint, but any black crackle paint will work. Once that's dry, I finish the base with a layer of matte varnish. Then dry brush the cork with some Dawnstone Grey. I then followed up with a finer dry brush of Vallejo's Sky Grey on all the edges. For the fire, I start by painting the brightest areas with white. Then I use my airbrush to create a glowing effect by spraying white ink around the flame's radius, and also the underside of the fire. I then use fluorescent pink to airbrush the flames themselves. While I'm still a beginner at OSL, I've been following what I've seen others do, but also probably to a much higher standard, but hey, everyone starts somewhere. I add some fluorescent purple to paint the cooler parts of the flames, then intensify the hottest areas with more white, then followed by glazing with more pink. I then proceed to finish off the flames with glazing just a little bit more fluorescent purple to blend the hot and cold areas together. Moving on to the 1,000 Suns model, I prime in black and give him a very shiny finish with Vallejo chrome. Then I apply a black oil wash, followed by cleaning up the panels with some white spirits and Q-tips. Once that's dry, I airbrush on Arkellian green contrast paint to give the armor a sleek metallic blue color. I then black out the rest of the model, and then using Vallejo's Sky Grey, I go and paint the tabard. Then using AK Interactive's Rusty Gold for all of the trim. Then on the brightest areas, I apply some chrome, so then when I go in with AK's Old Gold, it makes it really pop on all the raised areas. Next, I add definition to the gold with some Guilliman Flesh contrast paint, and then I paint the steel areas with some lead belcher, including the stripes on the armor, which then I'm going to use Lamenter's Yellow glaze over the stripes to give them a nice metallic yellow. You can substitute this yellow with any other contrast paint or speed paint that you prefer, as I do believe GW has discontinued Lamenter's Yellow. I follow up with Agrak's Earthshade to add some depth to all the steel. For the glow effects, I paint the runes on the bolter and any areas that will be illuminated with some white paint. Then, using some white ink in my airbrush, I create a glowing gradient around these spots. Then apply Warp Lightning contrast paint to give the light an otherworldly glow. Afterward, I use some pure white to touch up the brightest areas of the light source, as well as any edges that would catch the harshest light. To really intensify the OSL, I go over these areas with some fluorescent green. For the eyes, I do the exact same steps, except I don't use an airbrush. Moving on to the tabard, I use some thinned down Basilium Grey contrast just in the recesses of the cloth. Once the model is fully painted, I position him on the base to determine where he would stand to match the OSL coming from the flames. I airbrush some white ink to the brighter spots that would come directly from the flames, followed by some fluorescent purple. Then I highlight the edges with some white to simulate reflections and catching the light, glazing over with some fluorescent pink for a smooth transition. After gluing the Rubric marine down, I repeat the process on the higher areas of the model. And finally, I paint the rim of the base black. The result is a finished, glowing, chaotic mini ready for display. Let's take a look at the final result. And there we go. Our Thousand Suns Rubric Marine has been brought to life with an awesome metallic blue paint job. I actually like it more than my regular scheme, and I don't really know how to feel about that. Plus, I think I was able to pull off some semi-believable OSL. Though it's by no means perfect, I'm gonna need much more practice. If you would like to share some of your own work, please join our Discord where we talk about everything hobby related. There is some real talent in there as well. To the community of painters, players, and lore masters, thank you so much for joining me today. Your enthusiasm and support fuel this channel, and our shared passion for the grimdark, that is Warhammer 40k. Until our next adventures across the warp, I'll see you War Masters next time.